Now I want to talk about media and how it impacts politics. These days, well, first let's define mass media. Mass media is television, radio, newspapers, magazines, and of course now the internet, and any other means of popular communication. Anything that allows you to communicate with a lot of people at once is mass media. Now, today, that's becoming increasingly high tech. I don't think I have to tell you guys that. And that is changing politics very, very quickly. We're really in a fascinating place in terms of how we communicate with, or how we interact with politics and politicians and the government, because it's happening in a completely new way, and I don't think anybody quite fully understands it. And I think there's a potential for a significant amount of change because of that, but we'll see. Effective communication through media is absolutely critical if you're going to be successful in politics. Your ability to use the TV stations and less so the newspapers and magazines and more the internet to get your message across has become vital to you finding success as a politician. Media events are purposely staged so that the media will cover them in a way that's favorable to the candidate. Now, oftentimes they appear to look spontaneous, but in reality, they are meticulously planned. And a great example of this is the other day, President Obama, I'm recording this in the fall of 2012, President Obama went to a pizza restaurant, a pizza joint in Florida. And the owner ran up and gave him a big hug and picked him up off the ground. And if all you do was see that clip, it looked great. It looked very spontaneous and kind of unplanned. But in reality, that guy had to get permission and talk to the Secret Service before he could do that, and Obama was told what was going to happen. But of course, when you saw just the clip on the 6 o'clock news, or when you went to check your Yahoo email and you clicked on the link and saw the video, it looked like it just kind of happened. But nothing, or almost nothing, with politicians just happens. It's all very, very, very planned out. Image making and news management is important. Everything is meticulously planned when you see a politician on camera most of the time. What's behind him? What flags are behind him? What's on the podium in front of him? What is he wearing? Going back to using Obama as an example, apparently people say he kind of dresses like a slob and wears shoes with holes in them and stuff, and he has this team of people who pick out his ties and his suits and make sure that he looks nice. And that's normal. All politicians are like that, and they have been for a long time now. The news media has not always been as important as it is now. In fact, the press conference, and I'm sure you've seen a press conference, you may remember when Barack Obama announced on May 2nd of 2011 that Osama bin Laden had been killed. Well, that was a news conference, and you're probably fairly used to seeing clips from that. But there had never been a press conference before Franklin Roosevelt, and that was in the early 1930s, although he did hold them all the time. Before Roosevelt, if you look at the president before Roosevelt, which is Herbert Hoover, he would have, and all presidents before him really, would have reporters submit written questions, and then somebody in his office, almost certainly not the president himself, would type out answers to those written questions and send them back. And so the idea of the president standing before a group of reporters taking questions is a relatively modern idea. Now, theoretically, journalists are supposed to be investigative, meaning that, and this is actually a particular type of journalism. It's where they really get in depth and try to unearth scandals or things the government doesn't want us to know about. And this can create an oppositional relationship between the White House or Congress or whoever else and reporters. The great example of this, of course, is Watergate, where two reporters at the Washington Times, Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein, found out that Richard Nixon was doing some illegal and unethical things in his attempts to get reelected in 1972, and were able to force Nixon to resign before he got impeached in 1974. But I got to tell you that the truth is that most journalism about politics is not investigative, and we'll get into that a little bit later and why that is. I think it's, in my opinion, something of a myth that there's some sort of watchdog media out there uncovering bad things that the White House does. But I'm going to get into that in more detail probably in class.